Oh yeah, he's sideways before he even came into the camera frame. So just got to be really careful with this car. There's a huge bump in the middle of 3 and 4 down there. When you run higher up the racetrack, it'll just bounce the car, and all of a sudden it'll be around on those, probably on those limiters.
Jamie?
Yeah, to your point, I just listened to Jimmy Johnson's radio. He said, I'm just awful through the bumps. It's not bottoming out, but it's just awful up there. And you see what happened there once he hit it.
Yeah, and that's
you can almost see the car bounce right there.
And that's just experience in this car, not having the experience in this car. I mean, you know coming here that your thing that happened to Jimmy Johnson earlier, I promise you, Christopher Bell went over that bump in the high groove. The back of the car stepped out on him, caused a chain reaction behind him. That bump in turns 3 and 4, you have to, depends on your car as to how you have to go over that bump. But if the car is not pointed, ooh, see John Hunter come across the nose of Alex Bowman.
I think Bowman got checked up. As you said, it stacked up behind him. He got checked up and ran over from behind. And here come Nemechek sliding in later.
This is on board the 48.
Ally Cam.
Easy right, fill the track. Hang on.
Big damage to that car. That was way before the corner, Kevin.
Wow.
Might have got some help there.
He was loose really, really early.
I'll have to see a better angle of it, but Kyle Busch was close to the rear end of that car.
That was Chris Buescher's view in the Ford Performance Cam.
Oh.
Contact there with Buescher.
Yeah,
Stenhouse.
That was Stenhouse.
Oh, excuse me, Stenhouse.
Yeah, I think Stenhouse moved down on him and put him in a bad spot.
Yeah, and it just kind of knocked the front end out from underneath it, and then the next thing you know, the back's coming around.
I don't know if he got cleared or not, but he wasn't clear. He moved to the bottom, took that line away from him, and away it went.
Yeah, and you see that car spinning, but that started when the 47 came across the nose of the 4 and hit the front.
Next view from the Toyota Cam of Eric Jones.
Yeah, pretty hard left, right on the nose of Josh Berry.
Loose in front of you, see him. Keep digging.
Not clear.
This is Josh Berry spinning in turn 2, impacting the wall. And the car is the worse for it. We are 138 laps in.
At first glance, let's just, before I open my mouth, watch.
Hard to tell.
Yeah.
It was definitely in the vicinity of that bump. Regardless, thing got loose on the outside, trying to hold position on him.
Well, we'll get a second angle here. Two very aggressive drivers.
You see that car start to bounce. It's before the bump.
I think it was wiggling, yeah, just to say.
It's definitely rougher, a little bit rougher in the second groove all the way through the groove. There's one big bump about 3/4 of the way through, but it's definitely going to be rougher. But you could see Michael McDowell's car start to bounce, and that really worked the back of that car free.
And here's what Michael McDowell had to say.
See Burton looking the inside off of 2. Drag race is on, getting into 3. All but had him cleared. Bubba really rifled that thing off into the corner. Shot up the racetrack.
He got a little bit loose, had to work his way up the racetrack, and got really lucky.
Briscoe just didn't have anywhere to go.
Yeah, they both got really lucky. They didn't have more damage. See Kyle Larson at the back right there. When he got the lucky dog, he'll now start where he's running.
This will be a good vantage point of exactly what happened.
Yep.
Loose, exactly what you said. Saw that thing twitch, has to chase it up the racetrack, ran out of real estate. Rest is hit. The back of your screen, I think that was Preece was right on his back bumper. I don't know if he did a late block or whatever, but I think he got some help.
Blaney was 15, but it's John Hunter Nemechek up on the outside of Austin Cindric, but around he goes, hard into the wall.
That thing
to the
turned
garage.
around quick.
It was light on its feet. You could tell it all didn't take much. He barely touched the wheel, and that thing came around.
Well, he had some prior damage from, let's see, 2 other cautions.
Look at Bubba Wallace.
Whew. Yeah.
That's a hard shot. I wrecked very similar to that here at Texas in this car, and that's the time that it hit so hard that it hung the top of my. They're definitely fresher.
He just had to lift to keep from running over Gibbs. I don't know why he caught him so fast, but then he got up on the marbles, and you can see it shooting out behind the car there.
Larry says those two had been running each other hard for the last 5 laps. Well, Larry, does with all the differing strategies today, does this change anything?
You know, Mike, I just think track position is so important. I look at Brad Keselowski in that 6. You guys set.
To Kyle Larson. He and Zane Smith side by side, 4 wide.
4 wide, yeah.
16 got into Smith, who got into Larson.
Yeah, and Larson, yeah, he was just happened to be the top car. He did not expect 3 cars to be below him, and it's just not that wide right there. And Zane got a little contact from the car below him and up into the 5 to spin him around.
It was one of those so on and so on and so on.
Yeah, and Larson just never could clear the middle of the pack to get himself back. Yeah, and you see Chase Elliott come up the racetrack right there just a little bit, and a lot of times what happens when those cars get offset by a half a car length right there, it puts a lot of air on that right front fender and just gives that right front a little more grip than it's had all day, and we know how edgy these cars are, and it just turned that 11 car around.
That's 2 guys going for it.
Yeah.
Neither one of them lifted.
And that's what you would expect. I would expect Denny Hamlin to keep the gas pedal down, and he has nothing to lose at this point but try to win the race.